Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and today I want to talk about closing or obtaining commitment. And so these videos have been stringing you along with a series of giving you ideas on how that you can sell yourself. And now we're really going to talk about being able to make that close and some things that you could consider in order to make sure that you make the sale. And so some of the questions that I've written down here for you to consider as we go through this material is how much emphasis should be placed on closing the sale? And why is obtaining commitment important? When is the best time to obtain commitment? And which methods of securing commitment are appropriate for developing partnerships? Likewise, you should be consider when do you make the pricing? Present the pricing. What should a salesperson do when the prospect says yes and when the prospect says no? And what causes difficulties in obtaining commitment? And how can these issues be overcome? All right, so let's talk about securing commitment. Ideally, you're in business because you really want to close the sale. And this is one of those videos where usually I'm talking about job interview situations versus actually being in sales. And this one probably is best when you're thinking about yourself as a salesperson selling a product or service. So essentially, closing is all about asking for the buyer's business. So what you want to make sure that you don't do is you don't want to damage trust. You don't want to insult the buyer's intelligence. Everybody is smart, and you're not trying to pull one over on someone. And you don't want to do things that raise the possibility of losing commitment. So that means you really have to take a natural, logical progression as you're going through your sales call. So one thing that salespeople do, or really effective salespeople do well, is they tell the salesperson what to do next. They define the status of the client. Failing to obtain commitment can result in taking longer to obtain the sale, and it affects the requirements of the prospect. So the results usually of a good sale is financial reward for the salesperson. So you have to make sure that you understand what you're going into and you understand the processes. So some of those processes are really understanding the financial terms and conditions. And very often salespeople are allowed to give discounts. And you give discounts based on customer type. And so there's some customers that get discounts or different types of discounts according to what your company expectations are. Quantity purchase, so sometimes you can order more and you get a bigger discount. And then there are other factors. Sometimes quantity discounts are related to if you buy it just this one time, we'll give you this discount. A cumulative discount happens over a long period of time. You buy X amount of this product and then we'll give you this particular discount. Very often things are purchased from business to business on credit terms, and so there are incentives that salespeople can put into a sale to make it worth the buyer's worthwhile. For instance, credit terms like cash discounts. If you have early payment, a discount is taken. There are terms like 2/10, comma, N30 discount, 210 net 30 essentially, and that's where you deduct 2% from the bill if it's paid within 10 days of invoice, otherwise paying the full amount in 30 days. So that's 210 net 30, and that's a 2% discount if paid within 10 days, and then if not, within 30 days you pay the full amount. So another term is 210 EOM discount, which is 10-day period begins at the end of the month. So that's just another way. EOM means end of the month. Important for capital equipment sales, and easy credit terms help the salespeople get the close. All right, so let's talk about shipping costs. You have to really recognize who is paying shipping costs. Sometimes the seller pays the shipping costs, and sometimes the buyer pays the shipping costs. So here's what you need to know. We use FOB, which means free on board, and that's where the buyer assumes responsibility for both the goods and costs of shipping. So if you are a buyer and you see FOB, you are paying free on board, you are paying the costs. Free on board destination, the buyer takes responsibility for the goods once they reach the buyer's location, and the seller pays the freight. So FOB destination, seller pays. FOB installed, title and responsibility do not transfer until the equipment is installed and operating equipment. So that's FOB installed. So when you're presenting the price, you have to really study the competitors' offerings, know what their costs are. You need to understand and be able to deliver the value that your customer is expecting. You also have to make sure you're aware of the cost of the product or service. And so all of these things should be discussed at the very end of the process in selling. So you got to be looking for closing cues. These are indicators that when the buyer is ready to buy. So buyer questions. Signal readiness to buy if the question concerns implementing the purchase and points towards the purchase is implemented. Requirements. Conditions to be satisfied before a purchase can take place. And then benefit statement. Reflect strong feelings in support of the purchase. So you're really listening and observing for when the buyer is ready to buy. You as a salesperson should be have trial closes. So you may be able to say, if I could get this to you by Saturday, would you be interested in buying this now, for instance? Or if we could get that feature added in there as you've requested, would you buy the product? So these are samples of trial closing statements. Sometimes there'll be nonverbal cues, and so you can see those things through their facial expressions and actions. Maybe they look eager to buy the product or service. It really is your job to maintain a positive attitude. We all have the power to influence other people's way of being. Let the customer set the pace. You know, you have to really learn how to flow with the customer and be at one with the customer so that it works with his or her time. Be assertive but not aggressive, and it really is important to understand the differences there. If you are too aggressive, it may be pushing, putting a wall up between you and the customer. But you do need to be assertive. You got to be self-confident and positive, and don't be too pushy. You need to sell them the right product at the right time. So don't get them more than what they really want or need. You want to have a positive long-term relationship. Some effective methods that we should talk about, and here's 4 of them, is the direct request method. You're asking the buyer for a commitment. I mean, you're just going straight in and you're asking for it. The benefit summary method, you're reminding the buyer of the agreed on benefits in the proposal. Then there's the balance sheet method. It's helping prospects who cannot make a decision even when the reason for the behavior of parents. So you're kind of helping them weigh things out so that they can really see the benefits of it. And then there's the probing method, and you're using a series of probing questions to discover the reason for the hesitation. You look like you're nervous about this. What are you feeling uneasy about? Is it the price that seems to be worrisome for you? Does this not have the features that you are looking for? Those kinds of questions are probing questions. Then you can make trial offers. And these are based on the idea that once a product is taken home, one night might not want to give it up. So, hey, why don't I just send this home with you and give it a try, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it, but I guarantee if you buy it, you're going to love it. Some suggestions to use. Set a time for training to make sure the user is comfortable for the product. Remember, you are the expert representing your company, so you got to help them be able to feel comfortable with the product. And so you've got to come to agreements. There should be absolutely no surprises for the customer. They really need to be able to understand what the product does and what it doesn't, and so they have to truly understand the benefits fully. And so you got to help people understand what the benefits are. Confirm the consumer's choice. So in that, you might say, you've made such a great decision, or you made an intelligent decision. Help them feel good about the decision that they make. Then you got to make sure they sign for it. Get their signature. Make it an actual signing. Make it easy. Make them understand that this is just routine procedure. Make sure that you're filling the documents accurately and promptly, and show genuine appreciation. I think the best salespeople actually write a hand-lettered thank you note, and maybe even give a small gift and thank you to be really truly appreciated. And then cultivate future calls. Do a follow-up. Ask how people are doing. Ask if they have any questions about the product or service. Make sure that the product is delivered on time and as promised. You're representing your company, and you want to make sure that nothing goes wrong and you're following through. It's so important. And you have to be very considerate of the people that are wrong. Very often people lose commitment when people have the wrong attitudes, when they're not prepared and they give a poor presentation, or they just have poor habits and skills. And so part of what you do is you have to train people to use the product or service wisely. You need to value people's time and make sure that you show that you're committed to helping the person benefit from your product or service. So again, maintain proper perspective. Them buying from you is an honor, and you are there to service their needs and represent the company and help honestly answer any questions that they have. You might even, because you're their consultant and you're there to support them, you can recommend other sources. And absolutely use good manners and be polite and respectful all the time. We need to be professionals, and this is what professionals do. So have a clear plan for the people who are purchasing your product or service. Review with them what you're going to do next. Find out what the customer is going to do next, and then talk about the next times that you're going to meet. And then don't forget to follow up promptly with a thank you and then a reminder note. So there's some basic tips for closing a deal and obtaining commitment. If you want to close a sale, you need to recognize you don't own a customer. You're being assertive with them. You're being respectful with them. You're doing trial closes, and you're helping reassure them that they're making the best decisions and they understand what they're getting and what they're not getting. So I've given you a lot to think about here today, and my energy's a little low. I'm feeling not my best today. But more than anything else, I hope that you've enjoyed the video and that you've taken something away with it that you can actually use, and I very much appreciate your time. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you have a great day, because only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr. Paul.